and many of their supplies were still untouched. Footprints in the snow led away from the tent, but mysteriously faded after a short distance. Strangely, the tracks revealed that the hikers had left their tent barefoot, wearing only socks, or in just one shoe. The first two bodies were discovered on February 27, lying near the remains of a fire. Shockingly, both were found wearing only their underwear, with burn marks on their bodies. One of them had even bitten off a piece of his own knuckle, possibly in sheer desperation. 3 more bodies were found between the fire and the tent, frozen in positions suggesting they were trying to crawl back to camp. The final 4 hikers were only discovered 3 months later in a nearby ravine. These bodies presented even more bizarre and horrifying injuries. 2 were missing their eyes, 1 had no eyebrows, and 1 had their tongue violently torn out. Soviet authorities conducted an investigation and concluded that 3 of the hikers died from physical trauma, while the other 6 succumbed to hypothermia. Over the years, the Dyatlov Pass incident has gained global attention, and a variety of theories have emerged to explain what happened that fateful night. Explanations have ranged from ice falls to aliens, skunk ape, and even secret military experiments. Yet, the mystery remains unsolved, leaving the world wondering. Number 10. The anthrax outbreak from thawing permafrost. Russia is battling a strange and alarming anthrax outbreak in a distant region of Siberia, where dozens of people have been rushed to hospitals, and tragically, a child has died. In response, the government has evacuated some families by air, as over 2,000 reindeer have already become infected. The origins of the outbreak remain uncertain, but the leading theory is both startling and hard to believe. An intense heat wave has melted the permafrost, the thick layer of frozen soil, exposing the long-buried carcass of a reindeer that died decades ago, possibly infected with anthrax. Some scientists suggest that this incident might be a warning sign of the effects climate change could have, especially in the Arctic tundra, where such hidden threats could be revealed as the frozen ground melts. The outbreak is happening in the Yamal Peninsula, an isolated area that lies far above the Arctic Circle, near the top of the world. In this frigid environment, the ground, known as permafrost, is frozen solid, stretching more than 1,000 feet deep in some places, roughly the height of the Empire State Building. Jean-Michel Claverie, a scientist at the National Center for Scientific Research in France, explains, "The soil in the Yamal Peninsula is like a massive freezer. These conditions are perfect for preserving bacteria, allowing them to survive for incredibly long periods. In this case, the preserved bacteria are anthrax spores, believed to have killed a reindeer over 75 years ago. Russian officials think the carcass was buried beneath a thin layer of permafrost, where it remained frozen for decades. But this summer, an unexpected heat wave caused the permafrost to thaw more deeply, bringing the reindeer's remains back to the surface. As the carcass warmed, so did the anthrax spores. Infectious spores quickly spread across the tundra, infecting nearby reindeer as they grazed on the land. In response, Russian officials have ramped up efforts to contain the outbreak, vaccinating reindeer and burning the bodies of those that have died. However, this might not be the last such outbreak. Birgitta Evengard, a microbiologist from Umeå University in Sweden, warns that more cases of ancient diseases could emerge as climate change accelerates. Temperatures in the Arctic are rising 3 times faster than the global average, she explains. This rapid warming is melting the ice and melting the permafrost, which may unlock more dangerous pathogens buried in the frozen soil. Number 9. The Shigir Idol. The Shigir sculpture, also known as the Shigir Idol, holds the title of the world's oldest wooden sculpture. Carved during the Mesolithic period, shortly after the last ice age ended, this incredible piece of ancient art is more than twice the age of Egypt's Great Pyramid. The wood used to create this idol dates back roughly 12,000 years, which makes it a true relic of humanity's early creativity. The discovery of this ancient masterpiece happened in 1890, when it was found deep within a Russian peat bog. Today, it is proudly displayed at the Sverdlovsk Regional Museum of Local Lore in Yekaterinburg, Russia, where visitors can marvel at its unique history. This location, nestled on the eastern slopes of the Middle Ural Mountains near the village of Kalata, is about 100 kilometers from Yekaterinburg. Archaeological interest in the region had started 40 years prior, when various prehistoric artifacts were uncovered during gold mining operations. The sculpture was found in 10 separate pieces, and Professor D.I. Lobanov painstakingly worked to assemble the main fragments, resulting in a 2.8-meter-tall structure. However, in 1914, archaeologist Vladimir Tolmachev took a fresh look at the remaining fragments and suggested that the original height of the statue could have been impressive 5.3 meters. Unfortunately, some of these fragments were lost over time, and what remains of Tolmachev's vision exists only in his detailed drawings. Number 8. The Sayan Mountains Ghost Villages. The Sayan Mountains are a geological marvel, with some of the oldest rock formations in the world, dating back over 2 billion years. These mountains are part of the larger Altai-Sayan region, which is recognized as one of the most biologically diverse and ecologically significant areas in the Northern Hemisphere. The range is home to a stunning variety of vegetation and animals, including several species found nowhere else on Earth, such as the elusive snow leopard, Siberian wild goat, and the endangered Siberian musk deer. The Sayan Mountains are also soaked in cultural significance. For centuries, they have been sacred to the indigenous Turkic and Mongolic peoples, including the Tuvans and Buryats, who see these mountains as the home of powerful spirits. Shamanic traditions, deeply rooted in the belief of nature's divine forces, have been practiced here for millennia. In addition to their cultural and ecological importance, the Sayan Mountains have long held strategic value. Historically, the range served as a crucial passageway for ancient trade routes like the Silk Road, facilitating commerce between East and West. The rugged terrain, however, kept much of the region inaccessible, preserving its wild beauty. Despite being largely sealed off during the Soviet era, the Sayan Mountains have since become a destination for adventurous travelers, particularly those drawn to ecotourism, mountaineering, and trekking. The mountain's high-altitude plateaus, dense taiga forests, and crystal-clear lakes attract nature lovers and explorers from around the world. The region's unique climate, with cold winters and mild summers, supports the growth of rare medicinal plants, which have been used in traditional medicine for centuries. Moreover, the Sayan Range plays a critical role in regulating the local climate and water systems. Its snow-capped peaks and freezing act as a natural reservoir, feeding not only the Yenisei River, but also numerous smaller rivers and streams that supply water to millions of people across Siberia and Mongolia. Number 7. The Frozen Mammoth. In 2013, a team of explorers from Northeastern Federal University made an extraordinary find on the Lyakhovsky Islands in northeastern Russia. They uncovered a mammoth believed to have lived between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago. The ancient creature was remarkably well preserved, thanks to the region's permafrost, soil that remains frozen year-round, keeping much of the mammoth's tissue and blood intact. What makes this discovery even more fascinating is that, despite the frigid temperatures of 14 degrees Fahrenheit, the mammoth's blood was still in liquid form and continued to seep from the animal's body. The team stored a sample of this blood in the freezer at the Mammoth Museum, where it surprisingly didn't freeze even at -17 degrees Celsius. According to Semyon Grigoriev, one of the expedition members and the museum's director, this anomaly demands thorough research to understand what kept the blood from freezing. Grigoriev speculated that the mammoth's blood may have had cryoprotective properties, natural chemicals that could prevent cells and tissues from freezing, enabling the animal to endure the harsh cold of the Ice Age. The expedition team believes the mammoth likely died of starvation, possibly after becoming trapped in a swamp. This discovery is particularly groundbreaking, as it marks the first time scientists have retrieved such well-preserved mammoth blood. Since the 1990s, scientists have tried and failed to clone mammoths using cells from previous finds. However, with this new discovery, Hopes may rise for further research into bringing these long-extinct creatures back to life. Number 6.